Welcome to the 2018 MLK Scholarship and Awards Breakfast. Please remain seated for the procession of your 2018 MLK honorees, led by the Torch Runners, now in their 12th year, under the leadership of your 2017 Calvin C. Good Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Valerie Churchwell, escorted by the Phoenix Police and Phoenix Fire Department. The Torch Runners ran the torch from City Hall to open up our ceremony today. Thank you, Torch Runners. And now, your 2018 MLK honorees. Andrea Weeks Harden. Joanna Deshay. Warren Stewart Jr. Charlene Tarver. And Gary Walters. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2018 MLK honorees. Thank you, Torch Runners, for another year of support. As the Torch Runners depart and the honorees take their seats, we want to welcome to the stage the Betty Fairfax High School a cappella chorus to perform Imagine. Thank you, Betty Fairfax High School A Cappella Chorus. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now welcome to the stage leaders from the interfaith community to offer us an opening prayer. Represented on stage are 17 religious leaders. Please welcome Dr. Jana Scott and Larry Fultz. Good morning. Good morning. We are so honored to be here with you today. My name is Dr. Jana Scott. I'm with the Arizona Faith Network. We are people of faith united to create positive change for the common good. Today I stand with my colleague, Dr. Larry Fultz, with the Arizona Interfaith Movement.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. It's a joy for us to be with you and to stand in solidarity with you. The Arizona Interfaith Movement is no stranger to Dr. King, and this day, our former president and executive director was Dr. Paul Eppinger, who I'm sure many of you know. Behind us is our community of faith, standing with us today in memory of the wonderful legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King.
We also want to just honor those leaders like Bishop Henry Lee Barnwell. Yes, he's not with us today, but you all know he would have been here saying, "Have you spoken to the Lord today?" And also Dr. Warren Stewart Sr., who walked together with Paul Eppinger and many others in Victory Together to lay the foundation for why we're here today. So we're going to start with a prayer from Imam Didmar Faha from the Imams Council of Arizona.
Good morning to everybody. I'm going to start with the first chapter of the Quran. It's called the Surah Al-Fatiha, the chapter of the opening of the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. In the name of God, the most merciful, full of compassion. All praises belong to God, the Lord of the worlds, the merciful, the compassionate, ruler of the day of judgment. Only you we worship, and only you we ask for assistance. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those who you were pleased with, and not the path of those who you were angry with, and they went astray. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O you people, we have created you from a single male and female, and we have placed you in tribes and nations in order for you to get to know one another. And the best one of you, the most honorable one of you, is the one who is most righteous. God is indeed knowledgeable and very well aware of what you do.
We're going to call on Father Michael Diskin now from the Roman Catholic Diocese.
So on this day, when we call to mind the contribution that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made to advance the work of justice within our society, let us pray. We stand before you, Holy Spirit, conscious of our sinfulness, but aware that we gather in your name. Come to us, remain with us, and enlighten our hearts. Give us light and strength to know your will and to make it our own and to live it in our lives. Guide us by your wisdom. Support us by your power, for you are God, sharing the glory of the Father and the Son. You desire justice for all. Enable us to uphold the rights of others. Do not allow us to be misled by ignorance or corrupted by fear or favor. Unite us to yourself in the bond of love and keep us faithful to all that is true. Gathered here today, may we work for a future where justice is tempered by love so that all our decisions may be pleasing to you and earn the reward promised to good and faithful servants. And I offer this prayer through Christ the Lord. Amen.
We want to call forth Mitzi Linton, Unity of Tempe.
Greetings, beloveds, from Unity of Tempe, Church of Practical Christianity. Loving Mother, Father, God of compassion and of guidance, we are so grateful for this opportunity to gather together this morning, people of diverse faiths, people of diverse heritages, but affirming and proclaiming and knowing that we are all one family, the human family. May each of us be guided, Heavenly Father, to express and live the golden rule in all of our thoughts, words, and actions and deeds. May we shine the light of unity into our communities, into our families, into our churches, and into our world. And so it is. Amen.
Rabbi, would you come?
His central mission was to establish justice and peace. His dream was to accept all persons by the content of their character. In January 1963, at the National Conference on Religion and Race in Chicago, before 70 organizations, Protestant, Catholic, and Jewish, black and white, 1,700 attendees from across the U.S., Dr. King offered another dream, a different vision with 5 challenges. 1, to enhance the dignity of the human person by lifting up the religions that teach respect, peace, and love, the honest golden rule. 2, to uproot prejudice by recognizing racism, prejudice, and anti-Semitism, and to challenging them in a non-physical way. 3, to support social justice, as is quoted from Hebrew scriptures, tzedek tzedek tirdof, righteousness, justice shall you pursue. 4, to encourage nonviolent direct action by speaking truth to power, by talking the talk and walking the walk. Lo adibur ha'ikar el ha'ma'aseh, our tradition teaches it is not the word that is essential, but the deed. And 5, to promote universal love by advancing mutual understanding and respect, establishing fair assessments of others and of governments. Dr. Martin Luther King's dreams were and remain inclusive, welcoming, and open to all. His dreams continue to speak to good people of conscience. Some dreams become reality. Some dreams become nightmares. Some dreams remain unfulfilled. But today we still dream. Judaism teaches, Im tirtzu ein zo agada. If you completely, totally, fully desire something good, it will not be illusory, for dreams can come true. Dear God of us all, by whatever name or title, in whatever spirit we engage you and however we approach you, help us to talk the talk, walk the walk, and carry our neighbors with us. Teach us to continue acting on positive visions and to continue dreaming. Grant us the strength to affirm each other's character by our willingness to bring to reality each other's dreams, remembering the visionaries and supporting today's dreamers. Help us, O God of us all, to lift up and work toward the belief that dreams can come true. Kin Hiratson, so may it be. Amen.
Rabbi Robert Kravitz with the Board of Rabbis of Greater Phoenix. We're going to call on Yeshe Jampa, Tibetan Buddhist.
Good morning and greetings. Lana me ma hada minam gi demba zanje jumden de be jawa shaja duwala chadelo jodo jazo je wo zanje jodan zoje jonam la janju bado dane dagi ji zonje be zonam ge dola benje zanje du bara jo janju zemen jo boje ma ge ba no ma ge yo je ge ba nya ba me ba ya kono gondo be warai sho. May all sentient beings have achieved the happiness. May all sentient beings free from suffering. Thank you.
And we're passing the mantle this year to young people. So we have Sirag Singh Sakdev, who's going to give us our final offering, and we're going to then have a closing.
Today, we gather here from different faiths and races to celebrate Reverend Martin Luther King's birthday. On behalf of the Sikh community, I offer this prayer. Tu Thakur, tu Per Das, Jio Pind Sab Teri Ras, tu Maat Pita Hum Barik Tere, Tumri Kirpa Me Sukh Ganere. O power that be, we offer this prayer to you. By your grace, we are blessed with soul and body. You are the mother and the father. We are your children. You are the provider of all the comforts and peace in the world. On Dr. King's birthday, let us all remember his sacrifices and appreciate his spirit of lifelong struggle for the betterment of his people and for all Americans. He moved every human heart to crumble the barriers of hatred, dividing mankind forever, so that all may live with dignity and mutual respect. Let us pay homage to this special man of God who lived for those who had no life and died for those who suffered inequality. As he said, and I repeat, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Nanak naam chardi kala, tere paane sarbat da pala. O Nanak, may the entire human race be blessed under his divine will.
Let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you that we are entering into a time where the voice of faith may resonate throughout this city, throughout this state, throughout this nation. Father, we thank you now that we stand in unity and solidarity as your creation. And as a follower of Jesus, even as Dr. King was, I pray that even as we stand with other faiths, that we can remember that we are one in humanity, one seeking righteousness, one seeking mercy, one seeking compassion, one seeking equity, one seeking inclusion, not just for ourselves, Lord, but for the generations to come. So we thank you for this time. We thank you for unity at these tables. We thank you for inspiration to go out and do more and to be more and to carry the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. We thank you. We praise you for our city leaders, for all who work to keep this city going. We thank you for our chair this morning, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor, a woman of great faith. And we thank you for all of the people who've come today. We pray your blessings, Father, over this time.
In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for that wonderful opening prayer. Such a great example of unity. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of our colors by the Phoenix Police Department's Honor Guard and the singing of the national anthem by Kea White from Betty Fairfax High School.
Detail. Halt. Color guard. Halt.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Now, to provide a welcome from the City of Phoenix, please welcome Mayor Greg Stanton.
Thank you for that standing ovation. That was great. But you may sit now. And I want to thank you and good morning to everyone. What a great, great crowd we have here this morning for our annual celebration of the life and legacy of the great Dr. Martin Luther King. I want to thank my partner on the City Council, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor, who serves as chair of today's breakfast. Vice Mayor, you and your team have done a great job. This is one of the biggest crowds I've ever seen for an MLK celebration. So thanks for working so hard, working the phones, and bringing so many people and raising a lot of money for these great scholarships. In April, it'll be 50 years since an assassin's bullet took the life of the great Dr. Martin Luther King on April 4th, 1968. But we're here to testify to the fact that the great Dr. Martin Luther King, his life and legacy is more important than ever. His dream is bigger than ever. The message that he had is more important now than ever. For 32 years, this city has gathered together to honor Dr. King's legacy and to reflect upon what he still has to teach us today. So again, thanks to Vice Mayor Pastor, Ron Williams, the great Dr. Gene Blue, all the team at OIC for continuing this important tradition. And Dr. Blue, I think you've been here all 32 years. It's really incredible what he has done for this event. Let's give a big round of applause. And if it's your first time attending this event, you should know this is one of many events in our community. On Sunday night, if you have a chance, go to the candlelight celebration at Pilgrim's Rest Church as we raise money for scholarships for young people who are going to do great things. And please join us at the march Monday morning at 9 a.m., also launching from Pilgrim Rest Church. You know, it's apropos that Dr. King's birthday is so early in our calendar year, because each year we break out those calendars. We look at all the empty boxes, the empty days, and we all see that we have 365 days to serve others. And when we come together to celebrate Dr. King's life, we have the opportunity to plan our year through his lens of justice, service, and of course, commitment to community. And I look forward to this event every year. This is the 17th year I've had a chance to attend the MLK breakfast here in Phoenix. Yes, I've been around that long. Because when we come together to reflect on how far we've come and challenge ourselves to go even further, we have to push ourselves, rise to new challenges, the only way we can, and as Dr. King said, to get to the mountaintop. The need to rise to new challenges is more important now than ever. We're living in a time in which our nation has been hijacked by the sentiment that one can only get ahead by leaving others behind. Institutions built to secure the blessings of our liberty are instead used to embolden hate across communities. In Phoenix, we're trying. We're fighting every day to answer the call Dr. King made to us all those years ago. Every single person in this room has a role to play. Because as Dr. King so wisely said, everybody can be great because everybody, anybody can serve. And that's exactly what Vice Mayor Pastor is doing with Opportunity Youth in the city of Phoenix. She's our leader on the issue of supporting so-called disconnected youth, what we call Opportunity Youth. Kids who have dropped out of school, don't have a job, too often have given up. She's led this group of great community volunteers, put together a nonprofit, and we've gone from having one of the worst disconnected youth issues in the country to the best success story. And I want to publicly say thank you to Vice Mayor Pastor for her leadership in supporting youth. And I forgot to mention, but I should mention, I've got other great members of, I know a lot of elected officials here, but great members of my team on the city council as well. I saw Councilman Daniel Valenzuela here earlier. Councilwoman Kate Gallego is here. I know Councilman Nowakowski is here. Thank you all for being part of our team in the city of Phoenix for what we're doing. Councilman Nowakowski has great leadership on Code Phoenix, helping kids from all across the city have an opportunity to learn coding, which is so important to the future. Councilman Gallego, of course, for leadership on so many issues, including equal pay for equal work and so many other things. I've got great teammates on the city council. This is what we're about, opportunity. Everyone deserves opportunity. That's why we're bringing light rail to South Phoenix, West Phoenix, and Metro Center to bring opportunity to so many people across the city. It's going to help people get to work, school, get ahead, bring new customers to small businesses, and it's all because of you. You made that happen with that important vote a couple years ago. And in Phoenix, we're taking the principles of distributive justice literally. Councilman Gallego led this effort, working with our Phoenix Municipal Court. I see Don Taylor, our presiding judge here. We made common sense court reforms to meet people where they're at. An unpaid parking ticket, which in the past could have been landed you a suspended driver's license. People were losing their jobs because they couldn't get to work. Today, our municipal court system is working with people through tough times to make payment plans that work for them so they can keep their licenses and keep their jobs. That is a great reform that brings equality to our community. And Phoenix is also a city with a great sense of service. Phoenix signed up as one of the cities of service, and because lending a hand to our neighbors is part of who we are. Last year, more than 46,000 Phoenix residents contributed more than 600,000 volunteer hours to make our city shine and to make people smile, something we should be very proud of. And finally, we're a city that makes sure everyone feels welcome. Dr. King taught us that you can't be truly for justice if it's only afforded to some and not all. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So in Phoenix, we've worked hard. We passed non-discrimination ordinances because no person should ever face discrimination because of who they love. And this ordinance protects not only our LGBT community, but also people with disabilities in our community. And I want to go off script for just a second because I do think it's important that we do address the very disturbing words of our president yesterday. City of Phoenix is a city that appreciates our immigrant community. We understand that our immigrant community has provided so much value to the city of Phoenix. And so if you happen to be from Haiti or El Salvador or for any countries in the African continent, those are beautiful countries. And you are welcome here in Phoenix. You can see why I'm such a proud mayor. But I know that kind of success involves leaders all across our community. And that's why this breakfast every year honors great leaders in our community. And I also want to congratulate those winners. They're going to be on stage in just a few moments, and you'll hear more of their stories. But Andrea Harden, who's being honored with the Calvin C. Good, a legendary leader in his own right here in Phoenix, the MLK Lifetime Achievement Award for her commitment to building bridges in our community. And Warren Stewart Jr. and Charlene Tarver, Gary Walters, Joanna Deshay, leaders I've worked with throughout my time in public service. These are impactful leaders in our community, and the committee has done a great job of selecting awardees this year. So congratulations to each of you. Your work is the light that reminds us that we can make our corner of the world a little bit better. I want to thank them for inspiring us to work harder, to do better, to always stand strong together in times of challenge and controversy. You serve a cause that is greater than any of us, and these people make Phoenix the very best it can be. Now, I get the opportunity to bring next to the podium one of Phoenix's great civil rights leaders. In 2015, Dr. Gene Blue was inducted into the board of sponsors for the Morehouse College Martin Luther King International Chapel. He also has received the Calvin C. Good Lifetime Achievement Award himself, and he's the first MLK Legacy Award recipient. You all know him. You love him. We wouldn't be here. This breakfast wouldn't be as big, as an impactful, and raise as much resources for scholarships as it does if it weren't for the lifetime of work of the great Dr. Gene Blue. Dr. Blue, you're next.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank all of you for being here and contributing to this 2018 celebration of the life and legacy of one of God's best, Dr. Martin Luther King. Good morning. Now, wait a minute. I think they say you do a repeat, a playback. We have to do a little better than that. We have a few more than 1,000 people in here, and I think you can say good morning to each other and to the city of Phoenix. And you can take the roof off the sucker. That's fine with me. Good morning. Woo, I love it. I love it. That's much better, much better. Thank you again, Mayor, for letting these folks know that I've been around for a few years. I'm now a seasoned OG, and proud of it. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I'm one of the OGs, and as I say each year and everywhere I can, it's not just old guys, because OG is gender neutral. So it's old guys and old girls. Both of them are very special, very special. We had a tremendous group working with us, that will continue to work with us, as a matter of fact, for the 2018 celebration, and I urge that you attend any and every one of the events that's listed on our program. Vice Mayor and her staff, Ron Williams, the volunteers from OIC, you folks just did a magnificent job. The celebration would not be what it is if not for the volunteers, if not for those folks that we are passing the baton to, and those folks were the torch runners, the youth of our community and of our nation. We have to give them the baton. It is their time to run their leg in this race. We've been running for 32 plus years as a celebration, and we pray that we're going to have a few more, and that we will be able to pass the baton to the youth in our community. Let them run their leg in this race. So please, please support each of the events, and you see they're listed on our program. Particularly support our youth at the youth celebration, at our march, at the activity on the basketball court. By the way, I don't know whether the mayor's going to be playing, but he played last year and was pretty good. Pretty good. Did an outstanding job, as a matter of fact, on free throws. He beat our best. But we want you to please support the youth and remember that we, the OGs, we the ones who are here today, are standing on the shoulders of others who sacrificed their all so that we could be here. It's not just Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but it's all of those who gave their best and who gave all that they have to assure we would have the freedom to sit, to stand, to eat together, to talk together, to pray together, as we did this morning. And remember the words of some of those soldiers. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. A statement from Gandhi. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others, for their sakes and for our own. Outstanding sentiment from Cesar Chavez. The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all of us. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. and the words of an individual who set in motion one of the greatest movements that this country and this world will ever see. The only tired I was tired of giving in. Rosa Parks. Our lives began to end the day we become silent. The day we become silent about the things that matter. Words of the individual that we honor today, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Make a difference. Stand for justice. Support your friends, our neighbors, our elected officials. Help them to realize that it is only by the grace of a loving and forgiving God that we are here. Thank you so much again for being with us today. Thank you for being with us for the last 32 years. Thank you for standing for justice. We appreciate you, we love you, and may our ever, ever present God give you favor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Gene Blue. And thank you, Mayor Greg Stanton. And now, please welcome to the stage the co-chairs for the 2018 MLK Celebration Awards Breakfast, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor and Ron Williams.
Good morning. Welcome. It has been my pleasure to serve on this committee for 15 years, and I've had the great pleasure of serving as the chair for the last few years, but oh my goodness, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor came to us last year and said, how can I help? And I will tell you, she did more than help. We invited her to be our chair, and she stepped up big this year, as you can see, and has done an outstanding job. I've never seen someone work so tirelessly. In addition to her duties as Vice Mayor, she stepped up big. We just want to give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to hear from her in just a second, but I want to quickly make a couple of quick acknowledgments. The reason why we're here, the awards, breakfast, and scholarship breakfast. We have some wonderful MLK scholarship awardees. We're not going to go through their names, but you can hear more about that at the candlelight service, those that you will be attending there. So we'd like to take a quick moment to have all of the past MLK awardees please stand. All of our past MLK awardees, please stand. Thank you for your continued service to the community. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will indulge me in giving a very warm welcome to our chair, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor.
So I'm going to ask one more time, because I know everybody, we start warming you up and everything, but good morning. Thank you. Before I begin, I have to give credit to those that had taught me to be here at this stage, and that was Bishop Barnwell. Bishop Barnwell mentored my father when he was young, and then as a young child, I watched in the community what the two of them did together. So this morning when I woke up, the memory of Bishop Barnwell was in my head, but it wasn't the memory. It was, Laura, are you trusting in the Lord? And so I answered back this morning as I was getting up, and I said, I am trusting because you are there and you're going to get me through this morning. So in memory of Bishop Barnwell, I stand today for him. When I asked to become chair of the breakfast, what I really wanted to do was build upon the history of this event and have people moving folk to action. I committed to fill the room full of diverse people and perspectives to celebrate the Martin Luther King Jr. and his impact on the world, our country, and Arizona. As we break bread together this morning, we do so in the spirit that celebration and fellowship. We honor the past, but with the keen eye on tackling the challenges we face of our future. So yes, today we celebrate and make note that we have much to do. I still believe we will prevail. An event like today's comes from a lot of work, and I need to thank so many people. I want to express my gratitude to the kids of Phoenix Union, Kim Covington, Gardelia, Janet, everyone at OIC, and especially Jean Blue. And Ron Williams is my co-chair. He was my side co-chair who helped me a lot behind the scenes, so it wasn't just me. Today's breakfast, there's 40% more people here than last year. And for that, I have to thank my team and Michael, who helped me a lot to get there. So I'd like to talk now about how the generations before us gave their blood, sweat, and tears so that we could experience success we have today. Just look around this room to see the successful men and women in this room bear witness to the achievement that they built. I myself was fortunate to learn from some amazing Latinos influences. Those like my uncle, who was the first Latino Justice of the Peace in South Phoenix, my father, who was the first congressman. They taught me how to stand for what I believe in and how to work together with others to fight for what is right. As a result, I got to see and know great work of Cesar Chavez, who lived the legacy of Dr. King, who took what he did and paved the way for more rights and inspired a new generation of Latino advocates. And what happened could not be denied. The movement was inevitable. The spirit was strong, and millions of cracks in the wall gave way to sweeping changes. But then something happened. Something that has unexpectedly led us to this point. Somehow we got complacent. Things became stagnant. How is that? I, the Latino daughter of a congressman and a sitting member of the Phoenix City Council, have to teach my kids a certain way to act out of fear of their actions might be perceived as aggressive because of the color of their skin. In 2018, how is that possible? How is it possible in 2018 that women still don't make as much, hold elected offices in the same numbers, and are victimized by poorly behaved men? How is that still possible? It's people like all of us, a blend of cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs. It's men and women, black, brown, and white, all coming together to face these new challenges, together as a community. This moment is not just a celebration of a moment and a movement. It's a continuation of a movement. The numbers are there if we join together, and as our fathers, Dr. King and Cesar Chavez taught us, we are powerful together. This is a movement that goes beyond race. This is about social and economic equity. And so my message to you is that we have to stand and work together and own the promise. I still believe we will prevail. So I call on all of you here to look deep down within yourselves and look around at your fellow citizens and your environment. And I challenge you to be your absolute best to make change. Ask yourselves, how are you promoting justice and equity in the workforce and the community? We can all help this movement if we take responsibility in being the catalyst and the contributor for positive change. I still believe there will come a time soon when we will truly overcome. This I can promise you. If we all come together and fight for changes as equals, when the dominant mantra will not be me too out of frustration, but we too out of proper inclusion, victory, and triumph. We too will prevail. I still believe. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let's give another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. She's did a great job this year. I want to just make a quick acknowledgement and thank our sponsors who you will hear more about later in the program. But we're certainly excited about our presenting legacy sponsor this year, which is PetSmart. This year's presenting sponsor, let's give them a round of applause. This year's presenting sponsor is Arizona's very own PetSmart Charities. As the leading funder of animal welfare in North America, PetSmart Charities is committed to finding lifelong, loving homes for all pets by supporting programs, thought leadership, and bringing people and pets together. Donating over $330 million to date, PetSmart Charities works with nonprofit organizations to reinforce the unconditional love and healing power that pets bring into our lives, as well as working to prevent pet homelessness and providing an emergency relief for those who need it most. It was only a few months ago that PetSmart Charities committed $3 million to help families and pets impacted by Hurricane Harvey, Irma, and Maria. All of that great work was being done right here in Arizona, and we couldn't be prouder. Please help us thank PetSmart Charities for all that they do and for supporting the Arizona Dr. Martin Luther King celebration. I would be remiss if I did not thank the Planning Committee and the Awards Selection Committee. Will the Planning Committee members and the Awards Selection Committee members please stand to be recognized? Thank you so much. So I stand between you and breakfast. And so I have one more quick acknowledgement, ladies and gentlemen. We are honored to have with us today again for a second year for a man that really needs no introduction, but he is a champion not only in the ring, but a champion of the people and a champion for youth. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to acknowledge Hall of Fame boxing ring legend Michael Carbajal with us today. Michael, if you can come on up as I read this. His mother Mary says he was born a champion, one introduced to the sport at the ripe age of 5 by his late father, Manuel, who himself was a Golden Gloves champion. Michael had his sights set on a career in boxing and told his father at the age of 13, I'm going to be a world champion. You'll get all the details in his upcoming documentary, but bear with me, hang on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Golden Gloves national champion. 3-time U.S. national champion, 1987 Pan Am American medalist, 1988 Olympic medalist in Seoul, Korea, 1988 Olympic Athlete of the Year. After medaling in the 88 Olympics, Michael signed with the renowned promoters Top Rank Bargain and turned professional. A stellar amateur record of 110 wins, only 10 losses. February 24th, 89, Michael won his first debut at Trump Plaza, fighting on the undercard of his close friend and fellow Hall of Famer, Roberto Duran. Because of his electrifying body attacks and knockout power, he was given a nickname, Manista de Piedra, Hands of Stone. There were many magical moments, one in particular, March 13th, 1993 at the Hilton, Las Vegas. Michael knocked out the great Chiquito Gonzalez, winning the undisputed World Light Flyweight title. This was Ring Magazine's 1993 Fight of the Year, and in the same year he was named Ring Magazine's pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. In July 1999, Michael was Michael beat the reigning WBO light flyweight champion, a much younger Jose Arce, in the 11th round in Tijuana, winning the 6th final world title, retiring in dramatic fashion. Michael retired from the ring as a 6-time world champion with a stellar knockout record of 49 wins, 33 of those coming by knockout, only 4 defeats. He is a pioneer of the fight game and paved the way for the lighter weight divisions to win their first $1 million purse. Michael's induction into the prestigious International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canasta, New York, alongside the fights of the elite like Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Alex Arguello, Mike Tyson. In 2008, Michael was inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame. August 12, 2017, he was inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. In June 2018, he reaped the rewards of the legendary career. He will be inducted in June of this year into the California Boxing Hall of Fame. Despite his stellar amateur and professional record, Michael remains humble, true to his roots, still living in his childhood home right where all the story began, 9th Street and Fillmore. The homeboy's home. Since leaving the ring in 1999, Michael continues to empower the community through his nonprofit organization and impact the sport of boxing, leaving his legacy, training fights in the gym, Michael's Gym, 9th Street at St. Jim. He has owned since 1983. Michael would like to find that diamond in the rough like himself, who would follow in his footsteps. However, more importantly, his focus is to build champions in life. Today, he is also working on his documentary, followed by a feature film on his life and legendary career. Please help me. He want to make a few comments. I asked him to make a few comments. He would last year, but we get him to say a few words, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Arizona's own Hall of Fame legend, Michael Carbajal.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Ron Williams and Laura Pastor and the committee for having us here all together for this celebration. And if you look around in this room, I believe Dr. King would have been so proud and would have loved to see all of us in this room as all the diversity that we have in here. And not only that, you know, we have came a long way, and there's still a whole lot of work to be done. And you know, in a nation with tremendous divide, we must continue and fight and knock out racism and discrimination. Thank you all, and enjoy your breakfast.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor and Ron Williams, for your leadership as co-chairs of the awards breakfast. Please welcome to the stage a performance by the South Mountain High School Step Team.
Sick with the records, BME, Warner Brothers, the machinery. Ooh, look out, Pia. Heavy on the grind at your game. Stovetop production. Ooh, hustlers are us. My game sharper than the elephant's tusk. Me, myself, and I the only one that I can trust. Simple mind, I the finger on my pistol clutch. I got my eyes on everything. I'm real instrumental. I was real as they come and get no wish for kid. When I was coming with a certain piece on a line, I don't think they have me in off in the eyebrow. He's really putting out to go for all of a sudden, it's your name cool. I'm gang up. Chewing up the snack. Those J's stand. It's the nigga supposed to never man. All the rats falling the whole full attention all by way of compass. Just my mind in the condition to make it look like never missing. I'm never going to sweet of all the world.
Another round of applause for the South Mountain High School step team. And now, please turn your attention to the screen for a short video of reflections of our beginnings.
I moved to
by
Phoenix
Jesse
in
Airy.
1969. As we all know, Martin Luther King had just been assassinated. When I came to the YMCA job in Phoenix, I was hired at the Northeast branch, located at 26th Street in Clarendon. That's what they called Northeast Phoenix in those days. And they wanted and needed a director, so they hired Jesse Airy. So I became the first African-American to direct the Northeast YMCA. And then 5 years later, I was promoted to be the first and only director of the Downtown Phoenix YMCA. Downtown Phoenix YMCA in those days was considered the largest YMCA west of the Mississippi River. And since I was the only African American, it was a time in which, right after Martin Luther King was assassinated, the community and the city and the public leaders wanted to find some way to recognize this noted person on an annual basis. And so the board of directors of the YMCA got together and decided that they would initiate and begin a Martin Luther King celebration or memorial. First, it was established through a resolution by the Board of Trustees of the YMCA. It later became a community-wide effort dealing with what then they called Unity Day, because we wanted to bring together the life of the community and celebrating those goals and aspirations that Martin Luther King so vividly described. The YMCA kept doing this for a number of years until it became much too broad and too voluminous for the Y to do it. So the trustees appealed to a larger community, and that's when the city of Phoenix initially started their Martin Luther King Memorial Breakfast. During the time that I was working at the YMCA, we invited Mrs. Coretta Scott King to come to Phoenix and give a speech. And while she was here, I had the good fortune of meeting her and presenting her one of the photos that you have just seen, where I met her deceased husband. And she was so pleased to see that picture, because there's no other picture like that has ever been made, with this man swimming in the swimming pool, standing next to yours truly. And you can even see the scar in his chest where he was stabbed when he was being confronted by a garbage strike in New York. She asked me if I would send her a copy of that photo, and if so, she would have it hung in the halls of the Center for Nonviolence in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you, Jesse Airy. And ladies and gentlemen, please take a look at your screen for a full list of MLK events happening this month in Phoenix. Today's Scholarship and Awards Breakfast is a major fundraiser for the Arizona OIC that benefits the community by providing scholarships to deserving students and supports programs for those less fortunate served by AZOIC. We thank you all for your continued support. And now is the time we've been waiting for. Please welcome back to the stage for the presentation of the MLK Living the Dream Awards, Dr. Jean Blue, representing the Phoenix Human Relations Commission, Michael Williams, and our co-chairs, Vice Mayor Laura Pastor and Ron Williams. Your first honoree.
When you called me and you told me I won the award, I can honestly say I was completely in shock. I've done this work for a long time, and I've nominated many people for this award, actually. So to have the opportunity to be nominated and to get that call from you was completely humbling. I've done this work, and I will tell you, I've done it for many, many years in a corporate environment. I've done it personally, and it's not done for accolades. It's not done for recognition. It's done because this is the work I'm called to do. I have the great privilege of being surrounded by some of the most amazing, thoughtful advocates in Arizona, just by the sheer work that I do. But I'll take it even further back. I look at my mom, single mother, 3 girls, brought us all the way from West Africa to the U.S. by herself. She knew 2 people in America. One lived in New York City, one lived in Arizona. Our original destination was New York City, and those people left us at the airport. So we were stranded, and my mom went into straight strategy mode. What do we do next? How do I get these girls, to a safe place? And the second person she knew in Arizona, she called. That's how we ended up here. My mom is the epitome of strength. She is regal, she is strong, and she is determined. And that passion that she has for ensuring that everyone is good, I'll say that, I inherited. And I looked to her in her strength and thought, there's nothing I can't do. Look at what she did. She came to a country where she knew no one, with 3 young girls. Why? Because she wanted something more for us. She wanted a better environment for us. She wanted us to be educated. And at the time, there was a war in West Africa, and she didn't want us hurt or killed. So I look to that and I say, she can do that. All of the things I'm doing, I can do easily because I stand on very strong shoulders. But I also look to people like Eloise Nathaniel, who's the one that actually nominated me, The Quiet Storm. She is doing the work, and she's doing it quietly, not for awards, not for recognition, but because she too has a servant heart. And I'm really excited about being just here and able to really share with everyone the kind of work that we're all doing in the community. So I may sit here as one, but please know I'm surrounded by hundreds.
Congratulations.
I would say to Dr. King, thank you for your bravery. Thank you for showing us that all people matter. Thank you for putting yourself on the line, even with so much hate and so much animosity coming your way. Thank you for doing so with kindness. Thank you for doing so with grace. And thank you for doing so with dignity. You have forever changed it for so many of us that are walking in your footsteps.
Congratulations, Joanna Deshay.
Thank you, thank you. I am deeply humbled by this award, and I know that it could have been given to any of the amazing activists and community leaders that are in the room here today. Eloise Nathaniel is actually here. Thank you so much for the nomination, and thank you to the amazing members of the committee. I am so, so honored to be here and to accept this award. Maya Angelou had 3 words, and they're the words that I use every single day to really guide me to the work that I do. And she simply says, just do right. Simple, isn't it? Just do right. Doing right isn't easy. Doing right is not glamorous. Doing right is not lucrative. But if you just do right, you align with your soul, and when your soul is aligned, guess what? You are doing the work you were put here to do. So simply, just do right. Thank you.
Good morning. We are honored to be here this morning. Thank you for having us. We'll be reading excerpts from the letter of Birmingham City Jail by Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
My dear fellow clergymen,
when confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling our present activities unwise and untimely.
Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas.
But since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill in criticisms generally set forth, I would like to answer your statement what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms.
I am here along with several members of my staff because I have basic organizational ties here. Beyond this, I am in Birmingham because
injustice is here.
Moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states.
I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham.
Injustice is a threat to justice everywhere.
We're caught in an inescapable network of mutuality.
Tied in a single garment of destiny.
Whatever affects one directly
affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea.
Anyone who lives in the United States can never be considered an outsider
anywhere in this country.
It's important to me to serve the community because the community is a voice, and I feel that God has called me to help lead his people, not just in the church walls, but in the community. If Jesus was here, he would be not in a mega church. He would be in the hood. He would be serving the people who had the most dire needs. And so that's why I feel it's very important to be with the people, to know what the people are needing and hearing and feeling, and just be that voice on higher levels, mid-levels, and low levels, and just be reachable and touchable like Jesus was. Dr. King's work means everything to me because he was a preacher and a pastor and spoke truth to power and had an international impact that it amazed me. When I searched his name, it said pastor. And that just resonated with me because I'm a pastor and I'm a preacher, and God has opened these doors for me to speak truth to power on a government level, on a city level. And it just, for a Black Baptist preacher to be a believer and represent the kingdom of God and be a great orator, that is something that amazes me and resonates with me and tells me stay in your lane and God can open huge doors for you. I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is the epitome of leadership, of impactful leadership, touching people and loving and serving them. I want to thank him, of course, first. But secondly, I want to thank my dad, who is my personal Martin Luther King. I would just watch him when I would preach and just like be in awe of him. And I still am. He's still a great role model that fights for Jesus and justice. And I'm just thankful that God has blessed me with a father like that. And also, I would like to thank my great uncle, Dr. Timothy Mitchell, who was friends with Dr. King in New York. He was a civil rights, social justice, gospel-centered pastor, and was friends with Dr. King when he would go see him in New York. And so he's done a lot of the great things like my dad has done in Phoenix. He did them in New York. And so I'm very thankful for that legacy and that lineage in my family.
What will you say to Dr. King?
I would just say thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your prayer life. Thank you for pushing through so much persecution when they didn't understand you. You were trying to wake up America to God's call for unity. There is no voice that I don't think will ever be like you. And God sent you, and you were his prophet to this nation. So thank you.
Congratulations, Reverend Warren Stewart, Jr.
Thank you so much. When I was a child, I would be with my father. He would take us down to the Capitol and fight for justice. And my siblings and I, we grew up understanding what it is to fight. But what comes with that, the weight that comes with that and the responsibility was something that I did not want to carry. So I tried to distance myself from speaking truth to power and stayed in the four walls of the church. But the legacy in my DNA would not let me be mediocre. And so I moved past the sidelines and got involved after Romaine Brisbane was shot by a Phoenix police officer, and there was no justice for him. And what made me get involved was not just what was politically savvy, but was the gospel of Jesus Christ and how he sent Jesus to get involved with our sin issues to redeem us from a life without a Savior. And so that's why I do what I do. And I've learned that there's three people in the world, three types of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who say, "What happened?" And I will not live a life without purpose and intentionality and consistency and faithfulness to God and just watch things happen. So this is for my children. This is for the legacy in my lineage. And I thank God, and to all glory be to God. God bless all of you. Thank you.
We have waited for more than 340 years for our constitutional and God-given rights.
The nations of Asia and Africa are moving with jet-like speed toward the goal of political independence.
And we still creep at horse and buggy pace towards the gaining of a cup of coffee at a lunch counter.
I guess it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say, wait.
But when you have seen the vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will and drown your brothers and sisters at whim.
When you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, brutalize, and even kill your black brothers and sisters with impunity.
When you see the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society.
When you are harried by day and haunted by night by the fact that you are a Negro.
Living constantly at a tiptoe stance.
Never quite knowing what to expect next.
And plagued with inner fears and outer resentments.
When you are forever fighting a degenerating sense of nobodiness.
Then you will understand why we find it so difficult to wait.
There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over.
And men are no longer willing to be plunged into an abyss of injustice where they experience the bleakness of corroding despair.
I hope, sirs, that you can understand of our legitimate and unavoidable
impatience. I hope this letter finds you in good faith.
I also hope that circumstances will soon make it possible for me to meet each of you, not as an integrationist or a civil rights leader, but as a fellow clergyman and a Christian brother.
Let us all hope that the dark clouds of racial prejudice will soon pass away, and the deep fog of misunderstanding will be lifted from our fear-drenched communities. And in some not too far distant, the radiant stars of love and brotherhood will shine over a gray nation with their scintillating beauty.
Yours for the cause of peace and brotherhood, Martin Luther King, Jr.
It is important to me to serve the community because I believe to whom much is given, much is required. And as a member of the Arizona community and specifically the Phoenix metropolitan community, I know that my voice, my vision certainly serves a purpose, and I speak to the issues of African Americans, to women, to business owners, to single mothers, to women and girls, and I'm very passionate about that, and I believe there certainly is a value in having a diverse viewpoint in how we shape and develop our community, so that's significantly important to me. Dr. King's work meant an opportunity to identify and then to address the injustices that exist in this country along racial lines. We still see today that there are a number of disparities. When we look at the achievement gaps, when we look at the high incidence of incarceration, especially amongst black and brown men in this country, when we look at the unemployment rates in this country, that really is what the civil rights movement was about. It was about creating opportunity, creating a level playing field so that people would have the opportunity to access education and other resources irrespective of their race, color, ethnicity, religion, that there would be equity.
If I were to look back, I think over my 14-year history here in Phoenix, I was able to bring Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon Martin's mother, and her attorney Ben Crump to Phoenix. Also, I was involved in a convening town hall after the fatal shooting of Michelle Cuso, an African-American woman who's mentally ill, who was shot and killed by the Phoenix Police Department. Also was involved most recently in chartering and founding the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Phoenix Metropolitan Chapter, and just a host of different things that I've been able to either write articles on or speak to. So I would say that my parents are the foundation for everything that I am. I strongly and deeply appreciate them instilling in me a strong consciousness of who I am as a woman and what my responsibilities are in terms of giving back and serving the community. Individuals that I've met here locally, like Pastor Warren Stewart or Judge Cecil Patterson. I've just been blessed to meet so many amazing people. Dr. King said in his last speech that in the darkest hour, we see the stars brightest. I would say to Dr. King, thank you for being a visionary and for instilling in us as Americans a consciousness around the value of diversity and inclusion, that we are all human beings and that we all desire the same things, which is a family and the ability to provide for our families food, clothing, shelter, to be treated like human beings.
Congratulations, Charlene Tarver.
Good morning, and thank you all, Phoenix, for being here. Thank you to our sponsors, and of course to all of my colleagues. To whom much is given, much is required. As Americans, our human duty is to ensure the humane treatment of our brethren. It is our contribution for the air we breathe. From the streets of Alabama to the Valley of the Sun, freedom must ring in the form of jobs, equal wages, health care, fair housing, and an educational system that does not prime some for the workforce and others for the prison. Systemic, pervasive mass incarceration, homelessness, epidemic opioid use, and unemployment is not freedom. As Arizonans, we must work diligently to level the playing field so that all Arizonans can live up to their true God-given potential and not be judged by their gender, religion, orientation, or the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. We must forge a state where little black and brown boys and girls and little white boys and girls not only go to school together, but equally drink from America's fountain of prosperity. And no more Me Too. Women must not be trafficked, exploited, harassed, and excluded. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and we should each be appalled in the face of injustice. I want to thank you for this award to the MLK Planning Committee and the Human Rights Commission. I want to thank my mother, my mother who is here, my sister who is here, and my daughters and my niece and my parents for laying a foundation. And most importantly, I want to thank each of you for continuing to live the dream and carry it in your hearts and in your spirit. I am humbled and honored. Thank you.
My name is Fredian Tuisange, and I'll be reading And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down history with your bitter and twisted lies. You may trode me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oils pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my sorrowful cries? Does my heftiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me down with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds meeting on my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. From a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wonderfully clear, I rise. Bringing in the gifts that my ancestors gave me, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. I'll rise and I'll rise.
Dr. King, what he said basically is that, you know, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And he basically talked about, you know, if you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best. And so I try to emulate some of those things when I would go about doing the things that I would do to try to make a difference with those that I came in contact with. What he did was showed me at an early age the importance of being who you are. And don't take just anything just because people say you are a different persuasion, different color, different race. And that was something that was very, as a young man coming up, to see this man talking about you are somebody and that you can make a difference and you are better than those folks they say that you are, made an impact on me. Dr. King, I just think that for a person who was only lived to be 39 years of age was far ahead of his time. I only wish that the dreamer could have been around to see some of the things that have come to fruition today. I want to start off by thanking my father. God rest his soul. He basically, my mom passed when I was at the age of 11, and he had basically stood in the gap and raised us, and literally for 5 years before he remarried, showed me the person a man should be in terms of trying to instill for his family and do the things. So start off by thanking my dad, and then of course my family support system and my church has certainly been instrumental in my upbringing. I would say, Dr. King, thank you. I recently was in Washington, D.C. and had an opportunity to visit his memorial grounds, and it was just amazing to see, even though he's gone, on the wall, all of the great quotes, all the things that he was trying to instill in we as a people was the type of thing that just made me feel real proud to say, guess what, Dr. King? We're still living the dream, and the dream continues today. I would say, Dr. King, you are a man that we will hold in our memories and in our hearts forever because you showed us a way. I'm reminded of another person who had lyrics of a song, and that would be James Brown. What he basically would say, I don't want anybody to give me nothing, but open the door and let me get it myself. Dr. King basically instilled that type of same mantra, if you would, in terms of making a difference in this world. Thank you, Dr. King. It's because of you we continue to strive to make this world a better place to live.
Congratulations, Gary Walters.
Good morning, and thank you to the MLK committee, selection committee, and to Taniqua Broughton for nominating me for this award. You know, as a native Phoenician, this is really a full circle moment. I can remember attending this breakfast, not all 32 of those years, but a whole lot of them, at the old location, the original Phoenix Convention Center. And to be standing here in this great arena this morning and just going back over the memories is just, we still got a long way to go though, I can tell you. We've come far, but we have a long way to go, and let's I'm reminded of what my dad would say, God rest his soul. He would say, son, just keep on keeping on. And so I would say today to my son who is in the audience, along with his wife, son, just keep on keeping on. Also as well to my youngest sister who is here, who heard Dad give us those reminders to keep on keeping on. Let's keep on doing the fight. And lastly, but not least, to my darling wife, Kitty. You've been the one who has been with me through all of these trials and tribulations. And if it was not for you, I would not be here today. So to my wife, Kitty, I love you. Thank you.
And now, to present the Calvin C. Good MLK Lifetime Achievement Award, sponsored by PetSmart Charities, please welcome the Honorable Calvin C. Good and Dr. David Hayworth, President of PetSmart Charities.
Good evening to all of you here this evening. I'm Calvin C. Good, as was indicated. I served on the Phoenix City Council for 22 years, and I'm very proud of the fact they gave me the Lifetime Calvin Good Achievement Award. Certainly I want to congratulate the young lady who's going to receive it tonight. To all of you here, I remember Dr. Martin Luther King. I served on the Phoenix City Council for 22 years. We made some difference, but we still need to make more difference in this great city of Phoenix. To all of you here, thank you for coming this evening, and I hope that this will give you the kind of inspiration you need to make this city even better than it was when I served on the Phoenix City Council for the 22 years. Again, I'm grateful to all of you here and to my family back here at one of the tables. Thank you all, and I continue to live in this city and grow. I'll be 91 years old in a few days. So God has blessed me, and we live in a city that still needs to do a number of things. I'm counting on all of you to go forth from this day and say, we'll make this city more responsive to all people, no matter who you are or where you live, because good God is still on his throne, and I'm counting on him and all of you to help us to make Phoenix a better place for all of us to live, no matter who you are or where you live. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I'm not sure how you follow that, but I will say that it is so humbling and inspiring to be here, share this room and share this stage with all the luminaries this morning, none more so than Councilman Good, all the awardees, and our Lifetime Achievement Award winner today, Andrea Harton. The PetSmart Charities is very proud to contribute to the very best of the Phoenix community, especially those that celebrate the cultural diversity, social awareness of our world in this day more than ever. We also advocate for the role of companion animals play in bringing us together as individuals and communities, whether it is simply walking the dog and talking to your neighbors, organizing a community around a dog park, or just taking a moment, needed reflection while you pet the cat. I know you do it. Especially those guys at the 9th Street Gym. I know you guys do it. Thank you for being here this morning to celebrate the legacy of Dr. King, the future of this community, and those individuals who make such a difference in our world. Thank you very much, and thank you for letting us play a part of it.
Your 2018 Lifetime Achievement Award honoree,
service is a big part of my life. And when I think of community, I think of family and neighbors and friends, as well as potential friends. All of us have needed something from one time or another. We all need each other, and we all need service to one another. I am Catholic, and I am involved in many things in the Catholic Church, the Office of Black Catholic Ministry, I am a member of the Ladies Auxiliary, Knights of Peter Claver. We do servant work in the community. We are very much involved with the Missionaries of Charity and donate a lot of time and products to them. I was on the board with the Foundation for Senior Living as well as Catholic Charities for any number of years, more than 15 years on both. And both served the community so well. It was my honor to serve with them, and it was difficult to step down from those boards because of the work that they do in the community. So when I think about so many organizations and so many people in this community that need help in some form or fashion, I always feel that one person makes it just a little bit less. And if I can be that one person, then I'm happy to do so. There have been so many phases of Dr. King's work that I think about. Having lived during his era, we were not only humbled, but we were honored to have Dr. King in our lives, somebody that we could emulate and know that it was necessary to stand up for the things that you believed in. So when I think of Dr. King, I think how lucky we were to have him to show us the way, to break down so many barriers for us, and to move us then to a different level. So Dr. King has moved me in many ways when I think of things personally as well as professionally. I can only look back at him and smile and know and be thankful that he was in my life. There's so many people that I'm grateful to, so many family members, my parents especially. Unfortunately, my mother is not here to see me win this award. But my parents were divorced. They married two wonderful people. I had two wonderful step-parents, 4 wonderful parents who in many ways shaped the person that I am. I've raised 2 wonderful daughters, one daughter, one stepdaughter. Both are very dear to my heart, 2 grandchildren. And grandchildren make grandparents know not only what you must do, but how special they are. So when I look at people who have formed my life, I not only think of my family, but my professors, people I've worked with, people I've met along the way. There are so many people. I think people like Mr. Gould and his 22 years of service to our city in his profession as a councilman. That was not easy, and it should not be easy for us. Maybe a little bit easier, but we should be the ones who follow in footsteps like these to make our communities a better place to live. Words cannot describe the giant that he has become after death, even the legacy he left while he was living. People know his greatness. We feel his greatness every time we celebrate his special day. But there are no words that can master just the thankfulness and to be able to say thank you, Dr. King, for all that you did for me.
Congratulations, Andrea Weeks Harden.
Good morning, and thank you. There is so little time and so many thank yous to deliver. I firstly thank God for always leading me to exactly where I should be every day, whether I agree with him or not. He puts me in my place, and he leads me to do what I do on a daily basis. I thank my daughter, Kelly, and my grandson, AJ, who are with me today, who are always, always supportive of me, whether I am calm or whether I'm crazy. They just look at me and they help me. They give me a reason to try to make the world a better place because they deserve a better place to live in. I thank not only Dr. King, but I thank the Honorable Calvin C. Good, my fellow honorees, and the many that came before us, showing us ways in which we might serve our community and showing us examples that we can emulate. I thank my girlfriends here and my girlfriends in DC for keeping me not only sane, but grounding me. My sisters in Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and my sisters in the ladies, the Knights of Peter Claver, all wonderful, wonderful women doing wonderfully good works. I am truly, truly humbled by this award. I thank my nominator and those who voted for me. This award energizes me and reminds me that there is still so very, very much to do. I thank all of you for coming out this morning and supporting us, and ask you to take time to help someone. All of us need help at one point or the other. And if we take the time to invest in our neighbor rather than in our telephones, we can make a difference in someone's life. I ask you to channel your passions and your talents to supporting just one organization. How much your talents can benefit that organization and move it to the next level, because we all want to shoot for that ceiling. And lastly, and this is a personal request, I ask you to support the George Washington Carver Museum and Cultural Center. Believe me, you need that center, and the city needs that center. So I ask you to take time to search your soul, to find someone to help, and to help our organizations progress. Thank you, and God bless you all.
And now, please welcome back our co-chairs for final comments.
Let's give all of our award winners a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your service. We want to make sure that we remind our award winners that immediately, I've sent them an email like 50 times, immediately following the program to come to the stage for the group photo with your awards. Earlier when we acknowledged elected officials, we have some we have a lot of people in the community that we want to acknowledge, but we have some of those that are not currently elected officials. They are pioneers, have served in our Senate before, and we just want to acknowledge Senator Leah Landrum and Senator Sandra Kennedy for your leadership. Also, we did not have a great way to do this. At some point, we're going to pull some raffle tickets because we have some round-trip tickets to give to someone for those of you that have purchased your tickets. So we'll figure out the best way to do that. We're going to have some final comments by our wonderful chair this year. Please welcome back to the podium, Laura Pastor. Thank you.
So all I have to say is thank you. We still live in the dream. We still need to continue the dream. And at the end, we too, and we will prevail. Thank you.